to the Women in Engineering panel that is part of our 2014 MTSU Girl Day. And today we're focusing on women in engineering. And my name is Kathy Nichols, and I'm a mechanical engineer, and I work with Jacobs in Tullahoma, Tennessee. And I'm a member of the WISTEM Center Advisory Board. And the WISTEM Center is here at MTSU and is to support women and students in STEM careers. So we're happy to have you here. With me I have 5 other women, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you and tell you a little bit about what they do and where they work and where they went to school and things like that. So I'll start with Bobby Jo here, our speaker for today.
So most of you have already gotten a chance to know me a little bit, but my name is Bobby Jo Meredith, and I am an engineering manager at Schneider Electric. I am an electrical engineering technology major from MTSU, and again, so I work at Schneider Electric, and we kind of work in the energy division, so helping customers make the most of their energy. So is that what you need?
That's good.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nikki Johnson. I work at Bridgestone in Laverne, Tennessee at the tire plant. I'm an electrical engineer in our mixing department where we make the rubber that goes into the tires. And I mostly do big projects and installs. And I went to school at Western Michigan University. So I actually moved down here from up north.
Welcome you to the Women in Engineering panel that is part of our 2014 MTSU Girl Day. And today we're focusing on women in engineering. And my name is Kathy Nichols, and I'm a mechanical engineer, and I work with Jacobs in Tullahoma, Tennessee. And I'm a member of the WISTEM Center Advisory Board. And the WISTEM Center is here at MTSU and is to support women and students in school. Welcome you to the Women in Engineering panel that is part of our 2014 MTSU Girl Day. And today we're focusing on women in engineering. And my name is Kathy Nichols, and I'm a mechanical engineer, and I work with Jacobs in Tullahoma, Tennessee. And I'm a member of the WISTEM Center Advisory Board. And the WISTEM Center is here at MTSU and is to welcome you to the Women in Engineering panel that is part of our 2014 MTSU Girl Day. And today we're focusing on women in engineering. And my name is Kathy Nichols, and I'm a mechanical engineer, and I work with Jacobs in Tullahoma, Tennessee. And I'm a member of the WISTEM Center Advisory Board. And the WISTEM Center is here at MTSU and is to support women and students in STEM careers. So we're happy to have you here. With me I have 5 other women, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you and tell you. Welcome you to the Women in Engineering panel that is part of our 2014 MTSU Girl Day. And today we're focusing on women in engineering. And my name is Kathy Nichols, and I'm a mechanical engineer, and I work with Jacobs in Tullahoma, Tennessee. And I'm a member of the WISTEM Center Advisory Board. And the WISTEM Center is here at MTSU and is to support women and students in STEM careers. So we're happy to have you here. With me I have 5 other women, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you and tell you a little bit about what they do and where they work and where they went to school and things like that. So I'll start with Bobby Jo here, our speaker for today.
So most of you have already gotten a chance to know me a little bit, but my name is Bobby Jo Meredith, and I am an engineering manager at Schneider Electric. I am an electrical engineering technology major from MTSU, and again, so I work at Schneider Electric, and we kind of work in the energy division, so helping customers make the most of their energy. So is that what you need?
That's good.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nikki Johnson. I work at Bridgestone in Laverne, Tennessee at the tire plant. I'm an electrical engineer in our mixing department where we make the rubber that goes into the tires. And I mostly do big projects and installs. And I went to school at Western Michigan University. So I actually moved down here from up north.
Hi everybody, I'm Courtney Weaver. I'm the assistant plant manager at the General Mills Yoplait facility here in Murfreesboro. We make Yoplait yogurt, and then also on our site we have a Pillsbury facility that has toaster strudel, biscuits, cookies, all kinds of good stuff. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. Went to Georgia Tech with an electrical engineering degree, and I've been in the Tennessee area about 3.5 years.
Great. Hey, my name's Cammie Kirk. I graduated from Oakland High School. Right here in Murfreesboro, I went to Georgia Tech and got a chemical engineering degree. I live in Georgia now. I work for Nalco Company, and I'm in sales. I sell water treatment chemicals to industrial plants like these ladies work at. They have boilers and cooling towers, and so we help them treat their water to keep their systems working properly.
I'm Elisa McClure. I have a cold, so y'all have to excuse me. I work at Nissan. I'm a manager. I manage about from 20 to 30 people, just making sure that good products coming out. I'm also still a student, almost 30 and still a student, so you don't necessarily have to graduate in 4 years. You can take as long as you need to. My major is biology. When I graduate here, I actually go to MTSU. I'm probably going to go to grad school at UT Knoxville. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. I think most of you are probably wondering how we all knew we wanted to become engineers. And so I'm going to ask our panelists to share, when you were in high school, when you were or even middle school, what were you thinking about, and how did you decide that you wanted to study math or engineering or something technical? So you want to go first, please, Bobby?
Sure. So, like I said, so kind of my career path, we went over a little bit that this morning. But really the key factors for me, I loved math. I absolutely love math. I've always loved math. It's easy as far as it's black and white for most of the part. You kind of figure out an answer, you know how to solve the puzzle there. I also really enjoyed puzzles and problem solving in general. Of course, I wanted some stability with a career, so engineering is a growing career, and we will always need engineers. And then the other reason is I had a strong sense of charity. I wanted to give back and find a way to help give back to the world, help solve these problems for people. And so for me, that was really the key drivers.
Okay. Did you know engineers in high school? So could you talk to somebody about what engineering is?
So I did not know any engineers when I was in high school. So I had some family that were in the technology world. So my dad was more on the IT side, and my aunt was more on the computer science side. So I had a little bit of role models there. Really, I didn't know anything about engineering much until like my teachers just would tell me a little bit about it, things like that.
Okay. All right. Nikki, how about you?
Well, I had a lot of foot problems as a kid and wasn't able to be in gym and sports. So when I got to our high school, we had a couple programs. One of them was drafting, and one of them was called Machine Tool, where you got to play around with welders and cutting machines, grinders, things like that. I took both of those courses and ended up in our robotics club that we had at our high school. And being part of First Robotics, I got to work with a lot of engineers building robots, and decided that's what I wanted to do.
Oh, great.
So
Good. Courtney?
Yeah, so for me, I was also good in math and not really good in all the other subjects, so I steered towards that. And then I was a part of, my mom was a teacher, so she was always trying to find summer programs and things for me to do. And I was a part of an engineering cluster through the YMCA, and I did meet one of my mentors, who was one of my friends that was an engineer at the time, and she kind of introduced me to engineering, and then let me know how lucrative it was as a career, and helped kind of guide me to get into this field. But it was really what I was good at and what I enjoyed.
Yeah, I have similar answers as far as loving math, from very early.
Courtney, how about
Yes,
you?
so my background up until last year was in all of engineering, and right now I'm doing a cross-functional role into operations. So I also used to do computer programming for machinery, and then I went to an engineering manager role and did maintenance management as well, and then progressed up through engineering, and then last year transitioned to the job that I have today, and that's basically I manage the Yoplait facility. We have about 300 employees, we're up to about 11 production lines, and I'm pretty much responsible for everything that happens under the roof. So are managing our finances, quality, logistics, anything that happens in the facility. So from a day-to-day, it changes every day. Really, for me, it's supporting my team and removing obstacles for my team. And a lot of people ask me, what do you do? I don't personally do a lot, but go to a lot of meetings. I used to. Then as a manager, you realize you don't really do a lot, but it's like a lot with a lot of responsibility. But I would say that, I do a lot of the communications for the facility up to our corporate office. And like I said, just there supporting and developing my team are kind of my key initiatives.
I work in sales now, chemical sales for water treatment plants, and so, water is not the same. I go to different plants, and it's got minerals in it, and, I see breweries, carpet companies. So the neat thing about my job is I get to go to different facilities like that these ladies work at and see how they do things and try to understand their business and how my company can help them save money, help them reuse their water, just a lot of different things, working with customers, and it's gratifying to kind of be a part of the team at my customer locations.
Like I said, I work at Nissan. I actually work for the largest contractor there. I think we actually outnumber the Nissan employees now. It's called Yates Services. Of course, everybody knows Nissan makes cars. My work group, like Courtney said, I don't really do anything. I just make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. We have to continuously watch our costs, quality. We have to make improvements every so often, just make sure that everything's running as efficiently as possible.
So I heard some common words in here, and some of them were travel and making money and all that. So I think I'm going to ask everybody to just say just one or two things. What's the favorite part about your job that you think is a benefit? Is it the travel? Is it the salary? Is it the being able to make decisions? Or, what do you really like and think is a benefit of having a career in engineering or a technical field?
So for me, probably travel would be the big one, because I really, all throughout, I always wanted to be able to do that, to see the world. And then as well, with our company at least, we have a lot of flexibility. So work-life balance, I don't know if we'll talk about that at all, but we don't have balance, we have harmony. I can come and do things like this, but I may also need to call India at 10 p.m. at night, right? But it's being able to have that flexibility that I really enjoy as well.
Okay. Nikki?
Obviously, the salary, if you guys look up engineering, is good. So that's not a negative at all. I would probably say my favorite part is that every day is different, and I enjoy what I do. I get to design complex electrical systems. I get to do the installs, start things up. It's really awesome for me to be able to start a project from scratch and have nothing, make all the prints yourself, do all the programming, and the day that you start up the equipment is probably the best part for me. Watching something run that you created from scratch is probably the best part for me. So.
Yeah, I would say, a couple things. Also, salary is good.
Yes.
I think once you have a technical background, you can then do a lot of other things. I know at General Mills, having a good engineering background, I can do, operations. I've done maintenance before. I feel like you have just more things at your disposal to be able to do. I'm challenged every day. Every day is different. I'm excited to go to work. I've never had a boring day at work. And when I was doing engineering work, that was part of the reason why, one of the reasons I really enjoyed it is you get to see, an immediate benefit from what you did, and you get that instant gratification, and I don't know if you get that in a lot of other roles.
Yeah, I think very similar, doing something that we love to do as children, math, and I have a 9th grade son, and he likes math okay, and I try to just make him understand that you do actually use all the algebra, I use that stuff all the time now, and so, it's worth putting the time and effort into it, and I enjoy, with my job, being able to get out and meet people. Is, you know, some engineers are, you know, it just depends on what you like. If you're a people person, you know, there's a path for that. And if you like to do computers and design things, there's a path for that. So, like she said, there's a lot of different ways you can go with an engineering degree depending on what you enjoy doing and what you like to do.
Although I'm not in the job, my dream job, I like to think that every job you do is always going to teach you something that you can use when you get older and when you get to where you want to be. I actually like that I get to go around socializing all day, pretty much. I talk to probably 100 people
Yeah.
every day, and, you know, sometimes it's work-related, sometimes it's not, but I do get to interact with a lot of people every day. I wish I got to travel. I don't get to travel. I do make a lot of money like they do, so.
I think that sometimes, you know, that because of the Dilbert cartoon, people think that engineers just don't know how to talk with other people. And I think that all of us here have said that talking with other people and understanding other people's problems and trying to help solve problems are what we really do. And so, in addition to being good in math, I think all of us would say you have to be good in communications and you have to be good at speaking with people and figuring out what the problems are. And I happen to do a lot of writing in my job as well, so it's good that I liked English as well as I liked math. So, okay. We're going to switch it up a little bit and start coming this way. Alyssa, what was the best project that you worked on, or the thing that was the hardest but you're the most proud of?
I think I don't do a lot of projects. Every so often we'll have a big quality issue that we have no idea where it comes from, but we have to find out and we have to stop it immediately. So
you mean a problem?
yes,
Okay.
a problem that turns into this monster project. So we actually had some torque issues with one of the underbody bolts on the pickup trucks. We didn't know why, we didn't know how, but I ended up having to chart. It doesn't sound like charting a whole lot of torque points is fun, but I had to chart all that, prepare a big presentation for one of the upper level managers, and I really did enjoy that. When you're in school, you think, no, I don't want to talk in front of a lot of people, but when you do it and you get good feedback and you feel like you really made a difference, then it's rewarding.
Same question.
Yes.
And one of the girls I ate lunch with today asked something similar. So, not very long ago, I worked with a carpet company to help them design a boiler that burns shredded carpet, used carpet. So it was satisfying in that, you know, instead of all this carpet going into a landfill, which is a natural waste of the carpet manufacturing process, and they were using it to make steam that was turning a turbine and making electricity. So it was a nice green project and rewarding that way. Yeah.
I would say, so probably have two. I mean, the first programming project that I did and actually worked and I didn't break everything on the floor was awesome. You know, that felt good. And then also, I think one of my bigger projects was, you know, relocating a plant from Wisconsin down to Irapuato, Mexico, where we were building a new facility. So there was a couple of just challenges in terms of language and culture and just how quickly we had to execute it. And it ended up being successful. And for me, that was probably one of the ones I was probably most proud of.
Thank you.
I guess most recently at our plant, we had a problem where there was people loading 75-pound bales with a vacuum hoist, and it was very dangerous. People were getting hurt with that, and we installed a new piece of equipment that automated that procedure where they just dumped an entire bin of these bales in, and they had to stack them, center them, and everything, and get in the programming right on that, making it work, and then getting operation going on it was very rewarding for me, seeing us actually make product with it. And that was rewarding.
Good, good.
So.
So probably from the technical side, so when I was in test engineering is where I started, we had a problem. Basically, we were collecting lots and lots of data, and these files were very, very huge files, and we needed to be able to analyze them, and it took us forever. And so I actually taught myself SQL and C# and created a database program with an interface and everything, and that was probably the most rewarding just because you may know some of these skills, but you have the capability to teach yourself new ones or different ones, right? And it's again kind of you see it, you start from scratch, you see it work, and it's used and it's useful and it serves a purpose. And so that was just kind of like within our own department that was helpful.
Good, good. Okay. Also, because of Dilbert, I think people think that engineers only do engineering work. So my next question for the panelists are, what do you do for fun? Do you do engineering stuff at home too? Or do you do girly stuff? Or do you do nerdy stuff? Or what?
I'm both a girl and a nerd. I do love the used bookstores. I have a little girl, so I'm trying to get her into reading too. So we go to the bookstore all the time. I don't think she really likes it as much as I do. I also like to go shopping, of course. You make that much money, you have to go buy things. Yeah. I try not to ever manage anything outside of work.
I outside of work, I have two kids, a ninth grader and a fifth grader, so they keep me pretty busy. I like to play golf. I swam at Oakland High School. In fact, I'm wondering if my record still stands there. I don't know. But I was, and just reading. I do like to read, so I don't do a lot of, I guess, nerdy things outside of work. Just spend time with family.
I don't purposely do dirty things. I think my family, they still use me for tech support when I go home. So I do that for my parents, but I don't purposely do that. I mean, I asked my coworkers, do you think I'm a nerd? They said no, but I think they might be nerds too, so I don't know. They're good. I try to, outside of work, I try to do a lot around my health. So I do yoga and running, try to prioritize time for that. I do shop. I do enjoy traveling, so I try to go somewhere once a month, for me. So I'm, divorced and I don't have any kids, so I take advantage of that. So I have girlfriends that I travel with and try to do that as well.
I generally don't do very much engineering stuff outside of work. I get my fair share, my fill at work, and occasional call-ins on my weekends. But I have a 3-year-old and a husband, and we like to travel, and we'll go to Atlanta one weekend or Gatlinburg or something. And we have kayaks. We like to kayak during the summer. And I throw our daughter on the back of mine, and we just go. But, as far as engineering stuff, I don't do a lot of that at home. And I don't do too much girly stuff, but I do a lot of fun stuff. So I've always been kind of a tomboy. But.
And for me, I do a lot of the fitness stuff as well. So I'm hoping to do my first triathlon this summer and things like that. Like to travel. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and so there's always things to do with them. The only kind of techie engineering type stuff I do is my son is starting to get into science. He's 5. He's starting to really learn about these things. And so his reward for doing his homework is to watch an engineering video, usually of some sort, or something about volcanoes. And so I get to watch that with him. And I'm like, okay, let's. But that's really probably it outside of work. Everything else is family centered.
Okay. Well, I think that sometimes people and young women may be considering engineering in high school, and this all sounds great, but I know a lot of the women I've talked to, they said, but I never thought that I could make it through school. So I'd like our women to share with us a little bit about how they choose to go to school, what was easy, what was hard, what you did when you didn't understand things, and just how'd you get through school? So.
I didn't yet. Work in progress. Yes. I've always had to work full-time, so I'm considered a non-traditional student. I think once you hit 25 and you still haven't graduated, you're non-traditional. But When I was younger, I went to Motlow Community College just because it was a lot easier to afford. I've always gotten financial aid, but it's when you start looking at how much debt you're in, you kind of want to go where it's cheaper. So I would work all night at work, get off at 7, then I'd go to class in the morning, which if you're 20, 21, it's not that bad. Then I had a child. About the same semester I was going to transfer to MTSU. I had a little girl, so I ended up taking, I think, about a year and a half off. Before her, I was going full-time and working full-time, but I've had to considerably step back on that. So right now I'm taking 2 classes, but it's hard. It's always going to be hard, but if you want to do it, then you make time. I get off work about 11 every night. I stay up studying until 2. Then I have to get up at 7 for class. So I'm always tired, but it's worth it. Just do it while you're young. Don't, you want to hurry up and get it done before you get old.
Jeremy, that's very admirable. So it's how do we get through school? And I was my first year at Georgia Tech. It's a hard school, and doing engineering, and you're in this calculus class with 100 students. Just huge, and so there's not a lot of support. But I was telling some kids earlier that my calculus teacher at Oakland was awesome, and he, I would just say take advantage of all the IB classes that you have, and as much as you can to make that first semester and first year easy is a huge thing, because you're new to a school and then also trying to study a lot. And I think when I did struggle in some classes at Tech, you just have to reach out to teachers and other students. If you're in a sorority, try to get with some older students and ask for help. Just always ask for help, and that's part of what being an engineer is, like they say, is problem solving and just knowing how to chug away at things.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is hard, and I think I underestimated how hard it would be. I didn't have to study that much in high school, so I didn't have really good study habits. So then you get to a school like Georgia Tech where you have international students and people with a very different work ethic. I'd say the first year was hard with the bigger classes. I always, towards the end, made friends with the teacher assistant or somebody. Usually at Georgia Tech, by the end, you're like, there's only 2 girls in the class anyway, so people would love to study with you.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of that.
Yeah. No problem getting on a group.
Yeah,
when you're in a project.
no problem at all. So I took advantage of people that were making good grades and when I wasn't, and going to the library for hours and hours and hours. I had a friend from high school that actually was there. He was really, really smart and stayed in the library for 8 hours a day. I wouldn't go for 8, but I would at least go with him for a couple hours. So I think, knowing when you're in over your head and getting the right people to support you before it gets too hard, because when GPA is high, to bring it down lower is a lot harder than when it's low to try to bring it back up towards the end.
I would definitely say that all engineering schools are hard, because I don't know about Georgia Tech, but I went to school up in Michigan, and it's hard wherever you go. My first year, I didn't take a job. I know a lot of people try to work part-time while they're in college, but knowing that engineering was difficult, I decided to wait until at least my second year to get a job. And I also didn't have to study much in high school at all, so that was a difficult transition. But you pick it up as you go. And I was fortunate enough to meet some people on the bus that were in my classes. And we started to meet at our engineering campus on Sundays for about 2 hours a day. And one of our classes required group work, about probably my 3rd or 4th semester in. And those people that were in that group, we just started meeting every week. And after that semester, we continued to do that. And there became a group of about 11 of us that was a good support group. You'd all be in different classes at different times, so you may have 5 of these people in this class and these 6 may be in another class of yours, or they may have taken a class that you already took, or vice versa, and you can help each other study and learn from each other. So that was very helpful for me.
Yeah. So as well about the study groups, I know when I was in school, we had a group of like six students that were study groups together. So we'd study for tests, and we were in a lot of the same classes and things. And as well, so I got cheated. No, no, not like that. No, in high school, I took my class was the first calculus class for AP, and so there's only 2 of us in the BC calculus class, and so I pretty much had one-to-one tutoring with my calculus teacher in high school, so I didn't have to take any calculus in college. So yeah, so I think I had it a lot easier, because if I would have had to sit through 100 students, it would have been much more difficult. So while you have a low class rate, if you can take those classes in high school, do it. So.
What about the fact that there are so few women in these classes in college, but then also so few women that are engineers when you go to work? Have you had a problem with that, and what has your experience been?
I know at my work, there are very, very, very few women, which can be a good thing sometimes. A lot of times it's easier to interact with men because you can just say what you're thinking, and I do. And they don't get offended or whatever. Sometimes you can use it to your advantage because every man wants to help a woman, especially in manufacturing. They're like, oh, let me do that for you. So it can definitely benefit you. Sometimes it's hard because men don't know how to, a lot of men are intimidated by a woman in control or a woman that speaks her mind. Or I have to tell, right now I've got about 20 men that work for me, and I have to tell them what to do on an everyday basis. A lot of them don't like it, but you just have to find that balance with respect and still being their boss.
And I would say I haven't had any problems or issues. I work with mostly men also, and
Yeah.
like she said, it's not really a bad thing. There's, maybe you hear about some office drama
Yeah.
at other places that have more women. I would love to see more women in engineering. I mean, I think engineering is something that's gender blind. We can all contribute equally. So I think it hasn't been an issue, really.
I would say at General Mills, we actually have a fair number of women as managers and kind of as engineers. I see more probably around like age, and I've managed engineers that are, double my age. That's been more of an issue than necessarily, probably just that compounds the issue maybe a little bit. But I do think there's some positives from it, because I think there are, people are a little bit more willing to help, and I'm very direct as well, and people don't get their feelings hurt, and it works out well. I think as long as you, have good credibility within your organization and are professional, then that works in your favor. So I'm always mindful to make sure that I'm, dressed professionally and carrying myself in a way that I, you get the respect that you deserve.
We didn't have very many girls going through our classes at school, but there's not very many that work with me now. There is actually one other female engineer at our plant right now, but I would definitely say you have to be a little bit more rough than some professions, but I enjoy it. I don't mind working with a whole bunch of guys. Like they were saying, there's a lot less drama, it seems like, and I have a lot of fun with them. We all kid around with each other and have a lot of fun. In general, I don't think I've ever had a problem with respect from the majority of the people I've worked with. Every once in a while, you encounter somebody who may not have as much respect for female in that position, but as long as it doesn't bother you and you enjoy what you do, it won't get to you.
Okay.
It's not a problem at all. It's fun.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
And as well for me, so we are starting to increase the number of women that we have. We're recognizing that the value that they bring to the business, not necessarily intentionally, but if there's candidates, we accept them in, right? So we're pulling them in, so we're seeing more and more women. I have had one instance specifically where somebody said that I was only there to meet a quota, right? And that can hurt, but as long as you have the confidence and you feel like this is where I belong, this is where I need to be, those kinds of things, you just kind of, it's a one-off, right? And the rest of the people, they have the respect for you, they have what you need, but I'm not going to say you'll never run into that, but when you do, or if you do, It's just, again, having that confidence in yourself. You can do this, and right, you don't take it to heart. Yep.
We have about 5 minutes for questions from you, and then I would like to use the remaining time to ask our panelists to give a wrap-up little summary of what they want you to know, what's most important for them to tell you. So for the next 5 or so minutes, we'll entertain questions, so. Yes.
As like the manager side, when did you start to incorporate business in the engineering world, and how did you do that?
Okay, the question is, when you move into engineering management, how did you incorporate business into engineering?
How do you mix the business with the engineering?
Okay.
Courtney. Okay, that's me. So for me, and it's something that I will say with an engineering background, it doesn't come natural to me. So I definitely seek it out more than I would say some people that in other functions that they have more business acumen. So I think some of it you have to. So basically, for me, my role is to take the information from the business and then communicate that to my team. And so the good thing for me is I can, for a lot of times when I was an engineering manager, I basically called myself the engineering translator. So, my engineering group that's very, very technical, I have to be able to take what they're doing and saying and translate that to other people that are not as technically strong or don't understand some of the details. So being able to be that conduit from the business to my team, from my team to the business is kind of what I have to do. So I have to be knowledgeable, have the technical understanding to understand what they're telling me, understand when they're telling me something that's wrong, and then being able to take some of the complexities of our financials and really translate that back to the engineering organization so that they can understand that and support that and make changes accordingly. I hope that answers your question. Okay.
And can I add something good? I will say that when I graduated from Georgia Tech, went to work in Texas in oil refining, and I thought at the time that I wanted to move into management with that company, and I got a master's in business administration. So if you graduate with an engineering degree, you think you want to go into management or you have that aptitude, it's always a great thing to do. So I was out working full-time and went to school at night before kids.
Yeah.
To get a master's in business. And because I do think that the engineering programs these days lack some of the finance type, the business type classes that you need out in the real world. So, I need to understand the way my customers, value certain projects, and when you're trying to justify a project, you have to understand the financials. So that's a good thing to do, I think, after school.
Business will always help you, no matter if you want to go bake cakes for a living or whatever. It's always going to be a good background to have.
I can add a little bit too. I'm not a manager right now at my role, but the first job I took out of school, I did manage a group of maintenance people. And even in the role I'm in now, I would definitely say that management is key because I have to manage projects, I have to manage budgets, and a lot of times, the projects we do are over $1 million. You have to make sure that everything you do comes within budget. And when you have equipment that costs a lot of money, and then installing it, you manage the crews that are out there. So even though you're not their direct manager, they don't report to me. I'm hiring them to go out there and do this job for me. And so I think that the management part almost ends up coming natural to you after you do enough of those things to where if it's something that you desire or you're interested in, it's an easy transition. So.
Good question.
Yeah, good. Anything else? Another question? Yes.
I noticed with Twitter that you said that you were still in the process of looking for your dream job. So I was just wondering if any of you felt like you were doing your dream job, or you're satisfied with what you're doing.
Okay. So the question was, we did mention that, Alyssa said she's still looking for her dream job. So the question was, are any of us in our dream job? And what is it? Is that? Okay, all right. Alyssa, you want to go first for why you're looking?
Well, I'm not so much as looking as working towards what I want to do. I'm just not there yet. I definitely know what I want to do. I want to work in a lab probably doing like behavioral studies, researching diseases of the brain and stuff. It sounds like a lot, and I'm like, I can't believe right now I'm so far away from it, but I feel like every day I get closer to it.
I think, I don't know if I'm in my dream job, but, and my idea of a dream job seems to change a little bit. You know, the older I get and have kids, like now I think my dream job would be to be a high school calculus teacher, which sounds crazy, but, you know, maybe once my kids are older, that's something that I would like to do, but, I definitely enjoy and love what I do.
Yeah, I don't know if I have my dream job. I would say mine changes. So I get into a job, and I never saw this job for me. You know, somebody else did. So I love my job, and this is not something necessarily I would have said I want to manage a plant. So, you know, I think especially at General Mills, there's a lot of different opportunities. So I've been very open to different jobs, and I think as I've gotten older and transitioned, there's different things I enjoy. You know, I enjoy working with people and having to be able to have the technical background, but I do a lot of talking. I call it shaking hands and kissing babies some days. It feels like a politician a little bit because, you know, it is about going out and talking to people and doing some of that. So I really enjoy that today, and, you know, next couple of years I might like something else. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm at right now, I really enjoy what I do. It's a lot of touch and feel as you go. Your first job out of college may not be your dream job, but you learn everything that you get out of your job will prepare you for your next one. And everything you learn at each job that you have, you learn exactly what you like. And where I'm at right now is probably the perfect job for me. Would I move up to management? Maybe in the future, but that's not even something I'm interested in at this point. So I'd say I probably have my dream job. I get to do what I like.
Good. And for me as well, like, so I may be in my dream company. There's so many different things that I can go do: marketing, sales, engineering, plant manager, whatever. But for as long as I'm growing and learning and kind of gaining contacts, I'm super happy. This is perfect for me. Like I said, the job today will not be the job I have in 5 years, but it's still the career, and this opportunity is what I love. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's wrap up with our summaries. So, Alyssa, would you like to go first? And what's the most important thing you would like these young women to take away?
Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something or talk you out of doing what you want to do. You have one lifetime to do whatever you want to do, and you should do it. Always take advice from your parent. They sound pretty stupid right now, but I grew up in foster care, so I didn't have that background. I didn't have anybody to tell me about watch your credit, take care of your credit, or, you know, don't get distracted by partying. And yeah, study hard. You really want to study. It may seem stupid, but you're going to realize once you get further along that it's better to understand things than to just memorize facts and try to just pass by.
She's a tough act to follow. I think study hard now and put the time in, put a little extra time into your coursework. And I was lucky enough in college we had a co-op program. So if you have the chance when you get to school to try to go work in the job that you think you want to do. I worked for Mead Paper and went off to Ohio and worked in a research lab every other quarter. So then you can kind of make sure that that's what you want to do and you're not going to school for the wrong degree. So I think that's something I would recommend, and just keep working.
Yeah, I would say, you know, as you go through your career, I see people that, you know, chase money and titles, and, you know, I would say don't do that. Really look for something you really like to do, and I'm not saying go do something, you know, I mean, the salary is good, but I've just worked hard in the job that I'm in and focused on that, versus there have been opportunities for me that are more money or a title sounds really nice, but then I kind of do some soul searching and say, is that really something I really want to do? And then I would say, you know, don't be afraid to take risks in your life and in your career. A lot of times someone else sees something in you don't see in yourself. So, you know, be confident in what you bring to the table. And if there's an opportunity comes that feels uncomfortable, you know, what's the worst thing that's going to happen, you know? So I would say I have not taken as many as I look back, and there's some opportunities I probably should have taken and some things I should have done when I was younger and less risky. So while you're still young, and take advantage of those things if they come available.
I would definitely say, from an engineering perspective, being an engineer is very exciting, very fun on a daily basis. If you're technically minded or you're even interested in a technical job, go for it. I would definitely say that don't let being female hold you back at all, and just do what you enjoy. So.
Good. Echoing a lot of those things. So everyone is capable of doing anything. You just have to put your mind to it, be resilient, learn from those failures, learn from bad test grades, calculus, whatever it is, right? Like they're struggling with, and use that energy to push forward, and of course to study hard and keep your options open, right? So keep thinking about the things that are available, because we may start out as engineers, we may go into management or sales or whatever else, but just keep your options open and keep finding those things that challenge you.
I think we're out of time, so thank you, ladies, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our panelists for being here. As a student in technology, it does